And so the general picture we have seen now throughout our entire video lesson is that we're starting out with a given function. And the given function now has a list of constraints. So we're working on our function subject to a list of constraints right here. And then ultimately, after understanding that we only working with a list of constraints like this, on that function with a list of given constraints, we were able to find, or in other words, we were able to maximize. We can either maximize or minimize our function value, the value of z. And so the entire problem that either maximize or minimize the value of a given function based on its given constraints right here is being referred to as in mathematics, and especially business mathematics, we refer to that as a programming problem. So anytime that you're working on a problem where you have a given function, furthermore with a given list of constraints right here, and together existing as a system of inequalities, and we are asked to either maximize or minimize, meaning finding the highest or largest or lowest value of your output function, then that kind of problem altogether is being referred to as a programming problem. Since our function being given right from the beginning, and I spent some good amount of time explaining in the very beginning of this video, that since our function in this problem here, now everybody realizes that it's a linear function, as well as any of these constraints right here appears as a linear inequalities, or now formally speaking, linear constraints right here. And that's why, so now combining all that key understanding, all that elements together, the kind of problem we're doing here is a linear programming problem. So programming means finding maximum or minimum value on a function based on the given constraints. And since all of constraints and our functions are being all linear, the problem here is being called the entire problem. Any of these problems, maximize or minimize, is called a linear programming problem. And for short, many textbooks, including me, tend to refer to that as an LP problem. And I hope the video here gave you a general understanding of how to find the solution to an LP problem right here. So there are now a couple of possibilities about any LP problem. And so those possibilities are according right in our example we've just seen in this video. Then sometimes an LP problem can have both maximum value and minimum values exist. So in some LP problem, like the one we just did here, both minimum values and maximum values exist in the same problem. We can find both. But in some other problem, we can only find either one of them. Only one. Either maximum exists or minimum value exists. And there are even problems where we're unfortunately given and of course, any of these problems here, we have to have a given feasible region or a given list of constraints, and within our constraints we find our feasible regions. And within the feasible region, sometimes the problem give no solution, meaning we can't find any maximum and minimum value at all.